Out of all the kings of Israel, or all kings throughout the Bible as a matter of fact, I don't think anyone had to fight more interesting wars using quite interesting strategies like King David. The only one that beats any of the wars David fought in the Bible is probably the Battle of Armageddon for obvious reasons. But seriously, David fought a war against giants, a war over shamefully shaved beards, he fought his own son in war, and he even won a war by having his soldiers sneak into a city through its underground cave water system. And that city was none other than the city that became Jerusalem. And in this installment of Unsung Bible Stories, we'll be covering how David and his army took down the city of Jebus through its water system, reading from 2 Samuel chapter 5 and contrasting it with 1 Chronicles chapter 11. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem against the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, who said to David, "You will not come in here, but the blind and the lame will ward you off," thinking David cannot come in here. Now, for context on just that first verse, according to Christian commentary sources, the Jebusites had held at least a district of Jerusalem since the days of Joshua, as we see in Joshua 15 verse 63. And they thought the city was invincible, that even an army made of the blind and lame could defend it. And it mostly has to do with the location of the city, as we see from these pictures from archaeological sources. It was on a hill. And we know with any battle that goes up a hill, or you have to attack it from like the bottom of a hill to the top, or anything that has to do with high ground.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Yeah, we know how it goes. But nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David. And David said on that day, "Whoever would strike the Jebusites, let him get up the water shaft to attack the lame and the blind, who are hated by David's soul." The thing is that a factor of David hating the lame and the blind, especially when you read through Psalms and you see how, like, David, the kind of character person David is. But I mean, like, that is mad disrespect to say that David or anyone would not be able to take the city, and even an army of the blind and the lame, which we know what the blind and the lame are, could defend against David's army, who was taking down many nations. Therefore it is said, "The blind and the lame shall not come into the house." And David lived in the stronghold and called it the city of David. And David built the city all around from the Millo inward. And David became greater and greater, for the Lord the God of hosts was with him. And just some more commentary sources, it says that some view David's moving Israel's capital from Hebron to Jerusalem as the most important geographical decision in the Bible. And just to understand what moving through the water shaft is, this is an image of the water shaft, or the tunneling that David's soldiers had to move through to get into the city to attack it. They literally went through an entire cave system, which, according to archaeological sources, has been dug up and found to this day. And even though the record of this war was only like 5 verses, I also want to look at the 1 Chronicles chapter 11 account of this, because it actually highlights one of the main key points of David's army, which verse 6 says, "David said, 'Whoever strikes the Jebusites first shall be chief and commander.' And Joab the son of Zeruiah went up, so he became chief." I mean, that is such a small, short line that seems like, oh, it's just like someone becomes chief. But Joab is one of my favorite persons throughout the reign of David. The amount of things that Joab did, he was like an excellent, expert war general throughout David's entire army. Like, Joab did all the battle plans and stuff for all the wars that David fought from that point onward. And for this being the main peace point that Joab became the general. I don't know. I'm a Bible nerd. It's just the series is literally named Unsung Bible Stories because I read the Bible the same way, with the same passion I read a piece of fiction. And it's just some stories that it may be a couple verses long, but when you understand what went on, who is who, how this went this way, the other, when you actually go to commentary sources and see, wait, even though it says just 5 short verses about this, they went up the water shaft, you read that without the overarching context and you're like, that's just something small. But when you understand, it is a whole track. They have to climb through an entire cave system it branches off that entire one verse. And I think no other source did a better representation of this little 5 verses than the Action Bible. And I'll just run the clip of it right here.
Ah! Even if we were lame and blind, we could defend this city from the likes of you!
Whoever can capture this city will be the commander of all my armies.
Deal. That night, Joab and some of his men find the waterway that leads out of the back of the city.
Yuck! Crawling through the sewers. We'll be unclean for a month after this.
We have no choice. The outside defenses are impregnable. Jerusalem must be taken from within.
Surprised by the sudden appearance of David's men, the guards are quickly overcome.
Give the order to open the gates or die!
The terrified officer shouts the order. The huge gates swing open, and David's army charges through. Jerusalem is now his, and almost without a fight.
Whole infiltration. I mean, it's 5 verses. I know it's just a matter of like filling in the blanks of what happens in war and stuff, but I just love these short passages. Yeah. But anyway, that's it for this installment of Unsung Bible Stories. If you watched at this point and got through all my rambling and stuff, then why not consider leaving a like on the video and even subscribing with post notifications. On this channel, we primarily break down Christian and non-Christian fictional stories with emphasis on those that have some sort of Christian theme or where the authors make statements like this.
No, I was writing a deeply flawed God. Like,
Yeah.
I was writing something which was fit the structure. At the end, he uses the theological argument: what is God? Like all loving, all powerful, all knowing. They're kind of the 3 things that make a God, at least in that bit of theology. And it's clear that he isn't.
But we also make more generalized Christian content like this video where I ramble about my favorite Bible stories that you don't really hear much about, and an initiative to do Christian creative projects ranging from making replicas of different places in the Bible. We actually remade the city of Jerusalem, a digital replica in Unreal Engine that you could check out via the card at the top right hand corner of your screen, as well as some small-scale video games that we are putting together based on Christian fictional stories. If you enjoyed the video to the point you are looking to check out another one of our videos, then I highly recommend the very first installment of Unsung Bible Stories, where I stated why I read the Bible with the same passion I do a piece of fiction, and one of the funniest conversations between David's messenger boy and his general Joab from this chapter.